أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Looking at the religious scriptures, we find a multifaceted purpose being designed for the human being on earth. The most apparent one, obviously, was that we were endowed intellectually to an extent that no other species at the time of our creation was endowed with such intellectual ability and potential. And that is why God takes pride through Adam over the angels. And those angels were possibly jinn, called as a species of angel, and who were made to prostrate before Adam. And that prostration was one of servitude, that they will serve Adam in the task that Adam had to perform. Now that particular purpose of humanity is being achieved, whether we like it or not. It's existentially inbuilt within us, this yearning to know, the desire to explore technological progression, discovering the secrets of the universe, at the same time wanting to understand the realities of things philosophically as well. This curiosity that we have is a part and parcel of our human constitution, the way God has designed us and our brains. It is something that is unstoppable. We will reach out to explore the universe, whether we believe in God apparently or we do not believe in God. That is definitely a part of us. But together with that, the religion informs us to be good and to do good. Again, here we are seeing that humanity at large is actually on this path of discovering what is good and how we ought to be in a way that is befitting for a human being to live. Today, we do not need the assistance of religion to tell us to care for the other. It has become a part of our humanity, whether within the folds of religion or outside the folds of religion. We do not need to be incentivized by religion to be charitable, to fight for the rights of the oppressed, to talk against discrimination, to stand for equal rights. This again is a part of our humanity which is beyond religion, yet religion informs us of it. When we look at these things carefully and accurately, we will see that religion has always been a mere prelude to awaken that which is truly within us at our existential level. Religion was merely a handbook to allow the inner being, which is endowed with the real religion, to come upon whatever religion was instructing us to do as a natural part of our existence. Now, let me just repeat that before we build the whole discussion. Religion talks about human beings exploring nature. If you look at the Quran, observe the universe, observe the ships sailing upon the back of the ocean, observe the animal kingdom, so on and so forth. Therein are signs. When the Arabs read these verses, they began to observe and they produced scientists. Today, we are no longer adhering to those verses to prompt us into exploration of nature, we are doing it as a part of our human condition. What does that say? That religion was only informing us of what was already inherently with us. It was merely awakening us to our true inner calling. Today we do not need the religious scriptures of any religion to tell us, explore the skies above. We will do that. It's a part of our existence. It will not tell us to explore the potency of the materials on earth and to see how we can benefit through them. It will not tell us to find cures. We will do that ourselves naturally. Similarly, religion encouraged us to look after the poor, to be good to the parents, to be good to the neighbors, to speak the truth. In today's world, we do not need religion to remind us of this. Being good is a part and parcel of our human makeup right now. In fact, through human values, we conduct our discourses with each other at individual levels, at the levels of nations. We justify going to wars against oppressive nation on the basis of human rights. We talk about just social system. We talk about a proper welfare system. We do not need religion now to remind us of this. Nobody goes and says religion is saying we need to feed the poor. Today, when we discuss at the level of United Nations or within our own countries, we say no, it's a basic human right. What sort of a human being are you if you do not care for the other? How can we live in a state where there is homelessness, where there is less than proper pay, where people are not being fed, where people are not being given roofs? So we no longer need religion to exhort us in this direction. What does that say to us, therefore? That religion merely came to us in order to awaken us to our true inner calling, which is the living religion of God inherent within humanity as a whole. So today's human being, regardless of their religious persuasion, or whether they are believers or non-believers, all of us are yearning to know the secrets of the universe. All of us stand for the cause of humanity, for human values, for equal rights, for the rights of the oppressed. And we do not talk in a religious language anymore. It is only the religious community that exhorts each other on the lines of religion. Now, if we were to go further than this, then we will see that religion also says that we need to understand that we have a very deep calling within us, a deeper calling, a deeper yearning that is a part of our inherent purpose. And that is to spiritually be aligned with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is, I feel, the stage at which we have reached today, the modern human being. You see, the intellectual progression has become a part of our human condition. The moral progression has become a part of our human condition. We no longer need religion to tell us this. We no longer need the reward of paradise for us to be good. And we no longer need the threat of hell for us to be deterred from that which is less than befitting. But today now, humanity has come to that pedestal of maturity where it is yearning the final aspect of its purpose, and that is that deep-seated belonging, that sense of deeper purpose, this deeper sense of existence, and that is that spiritual maturity with God. You see, today's human being understands that something is amiss. We know now that this world will not accompany us beyond our death. We know this. We know now that we've come into this world, we are experiencing joys, sorrows, love, hatred, victory, success, failure. And we know we are being burdened by these experiences of the world. And we know that that is not the right state for us to be in. Every one of us, regardless of our intellectual progression, regardless of our moral refinement, we feel this sense of burden through these experiences and a deep sense of lack within us. We feel there is something greater that awaits us. That great awaiting is what religion designates as the final leg of our purpose. And that is finding our truest calling from within and belonging to God and aligning with God. Now, what is God here? You see, God is not Allah or Bhagwan or Jehovah. These are mere names to that untarnished beauty. God is our truest inner calling, where we find ourselves and we finally find our peace. As the soul matures through the trials and experiences of life, it deepens from within. The Quran says, "O contented soul, return to your God." This returning is in a state of maturity, where there is such deepened connection with God that we know that God is enough for us. We no longer need validation from the world. We no longer need worldly achievements to give us a sense of worth. We no longer need to complain to the world of our griefs. We no longer need to cry to relieve our hearts of its burden. But we need to be one with God. Once we deepen from within and we begin to find that final state of our purpose, that is when we complete our journey. So religion, if you look at it very cleverly, has attached this deep-seated purpose with intellectual progression. It says, explore the world in that there are signs for you to return to God. Be good to others for the sake of your love for God. So where humanity is missing out at present is not on fulfilling its first and second legs of its purposes. Where it's missing out is at the final level of purpose, to attach everything with God. God lies deep within our souls, waiting to be discovered. And God marks the absolute perfection that we are yearning for. God marks that place of utmost inner rest and comfort. So now, as the soul deepens, matures, its spiritual connection with God increases, it is no longer perplexed by the events of this earth. It knows very well that these were meant to be the way they are. You are meant to gain, you are meant to lose. In gain and loss, were you supposed to experience God? Through gain, you find God. Through loss, you find God. Through health, you find God. Through sickness, you find God. The soul no longer is moved through wants, likes and dislikes, expectations and regrets at failures, nor disappointment at failed expectations. The soul, through all of this, begins to deepen with God, and God begins to become sufficient for them. Now, if you want to see this in action, all we need to do is look at those prophetic examples that have been produced within the folds of humanity. If you look at the blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Imam Ali says about him that God had removed the world from the depths of his soul. He was totally turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was in a state of inner bliss. Of course, the Prophet experienced states of discomfort, of anxiety. But if you look at him through his life, as he progressed towards the end of his life, he was the most contented soul. He was able to let go. He was able to forgive. There was beautiful fluidity in his soul. He was not getting stuck in situations. He was not spending his time ruminating about his failures, what people had said to him, to the extent that the assassin of his uncle comes to him and the Prophet said, "You are forgiven." Abu Sufyan, his greatest enemy, comes to him in Makkah. Not only does he forgive Abu Sufyan, but he actually bestows an honor upon Abu Sufyan and says, whoever takes refuge in the house of Abu Sufyan will be spared. Now you can imagine that Prophet who has come to that level of maturity within his soul, that he has become so fluid that his direction is that inner direction, where he is constantly being beautified and the light is being intensified in his soul. When he finishes delivering his message, Jibreel comes to him and he says, "You have done the task that you were burdened with. You have executed your task. Now God is asking you to return to himself or to stay upon this earth for some time longer." The Prophet says to Jibreel, "No, O grand messenger of God, take me back home. Take me back home." Can you see that? I feel alienation from my beloved. I have done my time. I have experienced what I had to experience. I have delivered what I had to deliver. Take me back. Let me not remain here anymore. Jibreel said to him, "But if you were to stay, your reward will not diminish. And now there will be no more troubles upon you. You have achieved success. Now rejoice. See the fruits of your labor." The Prophet said, "No, Jibreel, take me back home." And the process of death ensues. The Prophet became unwell. Now, at that point, the Prophet informed his family and he said, "This was the conversation I had with Jibreel." His family said to him, they said, "For our sake, could you not have chosen to stay a little bit longer?" And the Prophet did not respond to them. Obviously, he was the Prophet. He knows their pains and he does not want to demean their sentiments by saying, "No, I would much rather be there than here." So he remains silent. He falls sick and begins to die. This is what happens to a deepened, matured soul, that they become needless of this world. Their sharing then is with God. They don't run to one and all and complain about calamities that have befallen them. Their God is enough for them now. They share with their God. They are at a comfortable place. They have found what they were looking for. The world was for them a mere opportunity to find the treasures that they yearned from within. This is the place where I feel humanity has arrived right now. We have done everything else, yet there is a deep yearning deep within us. And I'm going to continue with this momentarily in the second sermon, but this is what the world needs right now. This is what we need to initiate that beautiful relationship with God. Allow it to mature. Allow it to overpower our souls so that we may begin to return to Him and find that contentment and that peace. And at the global level, we need spiritual figures, saintly figures, in whose presence we feel a sense of calm, and through whom we find our greater calling. I will repeat this once again. It is said about the Blessed Prophet that he was a physician who cured hearts. He did not cure heart by saying to people, pray and fast. No. He cured the hearts through the touch of God by instilling that deeper sense of purpose and existence within them. And at once they were cured. And they found a greater calling that was beyond achieving wealth upon this earth, and that was beyond gaining praise of the people, and that was beyond human endeavors and services. That purpose was that deep-seated belonging with God and the process of maturing with God. Can we recite a Surah Fatiha for all our marhumin al-Fatiha? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وآله الطيبين الطاهرين أما بعد السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. It is very wrong of the faithful to think that the world has become an evil place. No. The world is becoming a good place and a better place. It is impossible that humanity does not ripen with the process of experience and progress of time. A child grows up with age, does not stagnate in their physical development. And as they grow up, they begin to think. Their thinking process is not stifled or does not regress. They mature in their thinking. And as they grow up, they begin to understand human values and abide by human values. It does not go in the reverse. That is what you are seeing within 8 billion people right now. You can talk to them on the basis of human values and human rights. It is very wrong to think that humanity is in an evil place right now. It has become evil. We are mistaking things. You see, because people are drinking alcohol, we think they have become more evil. Evil is not consumption of alcohol. These are poor souls who do not know the harmful effects of alcohol upon their souls. Yet these are the very people who will give charitably. These are the very people who will stand up for the rights of the oppressed. On the other hand, the religious community does not consume alcohol, but at the same time kills people in the name of Islam. What sort of skewed up thinking is this? The faithful think that the world has become an evil place because they go to discos. And they kill each other, which is the greatest crime in the name of God, and they justify it, and that is good. Whenever did the Prophet enforce religion on the heads of the people? It is something that has to take birth naturally from within the soul. It's a belonging with God. No. It is wrong to think that this earth has become an evil place. What is evil upon this earth are the heads of religion and the heads of states. These are the two evil people on this earth. The heads of religions will always tell you you are better than other religions. They will always tell you that if you do not subscribe to their understanding of religion, you're doomed to hell. That's what the heads of religion will tell you. The heads of state, they have no faith. They have no loyalty. They are only after their own gains, their own popularity, after their power and after their money. These are the two types of heads within humanity that have ruined the state of affairs for humanity at large. Who amongst the people of this world wants wars? Who wants conflicts? We all want to engage with each other at a mature level. We all want to live cordially and peacefully. So what religions are driving into our minds that the world has become an evil place is wrong. Their minds are evil. The prophets came to the worst of God's creatures, didn't they? Especially the Prophet Muhammad. He saw that community as essentially good people. And because of his positive outlook, was able to bring the best out in them. Does anybody right now in this world bury their little babies and see that as something ordained by God? Does anybody do that? Is this world of today more evil than the world of the Prophet Muhammad? Does anybody sacrifice their little children to their gods so that their gods may favor them? This is what the community of the Prophet was like. Does anybody rejoice openly through justification, through religion, of exploiting others and creating human tragedies? This was the community of the Prophet Muhammad, yet he saw goodness in those people. And with that positive outlook was able to nurture their humanity. So when the people of religion say that today's world is evil, the only evil is in their heads, because they are evil people. They don't understand the meaning of goodness. They've got this notion that who doesn't pray is evil. They do not know that prayer is not this bowing and prostrating. Prayer is that deep yearning of God within that Prophet Muhammad understood. So I will say this, that today's world is more than ripened to find God. If God is conveyed to them in the most meaningful way, not a God that favors one over another, says to one, you are my chosen one and the rest can go to hell. This is the very God people of religion have introduced to the world, and the world has become disenchanted with God. They're saying, what sort of a God is this? Isn't that right? Even our Muslims are leaving the folds of faith, be they Shia or Sunni, and who can blame them? This religion is not worth following the way the ulama are teaching it. Constantly fighting with each other and constantly condemning everybody else. No. If the God of the heart, if the God of Prophet Muhammad, if the God of Hussein is introduced to humanity, they will flock to their God. They will flock to that God. The God of Hussein, who allows Hussein to forgive beneath the blade. That's the God. The God of Ali, who when he's struck upon his head, says to his son, feed your captive and my assassin. The God of Muhammad Rasulullah, who says to them, there is no priority of a black over a white, or white over a black, male over a female, female over a male, Arab over a non-Arab. You are all same in the sight of God. If that God is introduced, the God of Muhammad who says, do not despair, God is with you at all points. The God of Muhammad who says, even if you have done evil, do not despair, God will convert all your evil into good deeds. You give that God to humanity, each and every one, be they theist or atheist, Christians or Muslims or Jews, Hindus or whatever they may be, they will flock to that God, because that is that deep calling from within. So I want to say today that when the Quran says, وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ, let there be a group of people amongst you who call to good, وَيَعْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and who command to the good and prohibit evil. It does not mean what we have understood. Pray namaz, fast, don't do this, otherwise you are condemned. Or restrain them by force, or beat them, the nahy anil munkar business that we have in fiqh. No. It means become a saintly person. Through your saintliness, let people find God by just looking at you. Let them see how you forgive. Let them see the ease that is within your soul. Let them see how contented you are. Let them see how you care for others, how no greed prevails upon your soul. Let them see how much bigger you are than the rest of them. How forgiving you are, how accommodating you are, how loving you are, how absolved of the world you've become, how much immersed you have become in the beauty of God, that when you speak, it strikes upon the hearts of the listeners. that when they see you, they feel that there is a greater belonging. This is what the people used to see in the blessed prophets. A hard-hearted Bedouin would cross the path of the Prophet, swear at him and curse at him, and then look at the Prophet and he would say, by Allah, this is not the face of a liar. That example is needed. We try to find that example in our Maulanas and Ayatullahs and popes and priests. They are not giving it. They are just not giving that example. We all need to give that example. And I'm going to finish here with a bit of an incident from my own life and bring this to a close. That my brother was unwell and in hospital. There was a person next to him in the bed. My other brother, late brother, was a porter at that point working at the hospital. Now, as you know, with Indian families, when we go to visit our own, we visit everybody else as well in the bay, right? So they would go, they would speak with him, share food with him, and talk and laugh with him. And my brother, who is the porter, he once wheeled him, and that man, he just burst out crying. So my brother said, why? Are you afraid or anything? He said, no. He said, I've hated you people all my life. For the first time, I have experienced what you are and your culture. And I cry in regret and shame and embarrassment. That man then became amongst the best friends of the brother who was in hospital. And constantly would come and visit him, bring gifts. And when he died, he actually came, before he died, he came to say goodbye, and he wrote, obviously, something in his will for him. This is what I'm saying. Beneath the hate, beneath the waywardness, are beautiful souls that are ripened. All we need is to provide that godly example, that saintly example, and we will find humanity as a whole will arrive at the final levels of their purpose. So I'll say this, have your Muharrams, have your Ramadans, have everything that we have. Let us have all of that of this ayyam and that ayyam. We've packed up our whole year with ayyams, haven't we? But together with that, let us talk about that deep-seated belonging within, and let us talk about Islam beyond our mosque and Imam Barga. Talk about the religion of humanity at large and become one with humanity. For that seems to be our final purpose. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Muhammadin al-Mustafa wa ala Aliyin al-Murtada wa ala Fatimat al-Zahra wa ala al-Hasan al-Mushaba wal Husayn al-Shaheed bi Karbala wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa Muhammad ibn Ali wa Ja'far ibn Muhammad wa Musa ibn Ja'far wa Ali ibn Musa wa Muhammad ibn Ali wa Ali ibn Muhammad wal Hasan ibn Ali wa Hujjatillah ibn al-Hasan al-Qa'im al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar. اللهم عجل فرجا وسهل مخرجا واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.